Hi y'all, and welcome back to Cammie's Kitchen. I'm super excited because today we'll be making homemade sourdough pizza. We are kicking things off by making our homemade sourdough pizza base and letting that rest for its first rise. While that's happening, we will chop, saute, and blend our fresh veggies into a rich, creamy vodka sauce. Once the sauce is ready, we will return to our dough, shape it, and give it a second rise while we prep our cheeses. Finally, we will assemble our pizzas with all of those delicious ingredients and bake them to perfection. Golden crust, bubbly toppings, and all of the flavors you'll love in every bite. To get our dough started, we are going to add 240 grams of warm water, 21 grams of honey, and 7 grams of active dry yeast to the bowl of our stand mixer. Remember to only mix your water and your honey. Once you put your active dry yeast on the top, just let it sit. This should take about 5 minutes for it to begin to activate, and you'll know that it's doing so because it'll get foamy and you'll notice a sweet yeasty smell coming from the bowl of your stand mixer. Next, let's go ahead and add 200 grams of sourdough discard, 28 grams of your preferred oil, I'm using avocado oil, 500 grams of all-purpose flour, and 1 teaspoon or 3 grams of salt. Attach a dough hook to your stand mixer and start mixing on low until everything starts to come together. Once everything looks cohesive, go ahead and increase to medium speed and let the mixer run for 5 to 7 minutes until the dough is smooth and elastic. I can't believe this, but my stand mixer just broke on me, y'all, like literally as I was kneading this. I cannot believe this. So we're gonna go ahead and I guess just knead by hand for like the next 4 minutes. Good news is that our dough looks perfect. One way to tell if your dough is the right consistency is that it shouldn't stick to anything. It should feel smooth and not sticky to the touch. The fact that we can knead it by hand with no problem is a great sign. Once your dough is the consistency that you like, we're simply gonna put it back into our bowl and we're gonna cover our bowl up with any kind of plastic wrap, clean dish towel, anything, and put it in a warm place for 1 hour for its first rise. There we go. Also, if you are making this pizza dough ahead of time, say if you're making it for your pizza party tomorrow, this would be the time where you can cover it up and stick it in the refrigerator for up to 24 hours. I am not a fan of marinara sauce. I don't know, it just tastes like very artificial and like just like a very rich, like in your face tomato flavor that I just can't get past. Vodka sauce, however, it has the tomato, but it also has the heavy cream and it has all these other flavors working in there that makes it my go-to for pizza and pasta. And usually this recipe gives me enough for both my pizzas and a little bit that I can have left over for pasta tomorrow. Now we're going to chop up our shallots and our garlic for our vodka sauce. I love using shallots in this recipe because they add a subtle sweet flavor that's a little more delicate than onions. If you don't have shallots on hand, then you can easily swap this out for onions, however, or you can use a combination of both. I have done this before and it is delicious. I like to chop everything up really finely because I feel like it helps release all those amazing flavors. And yes, this may seem like a lot of garlic, but I love garlic and I really do think that it forms the base of our sauce, so we want that flavor to be prominent. Plus, my blender isn't the most powerful, so chopping everything small now ensures that our sauce will be as creamy and as smooth as possible. Once everything is chopped, turn your flat top to high heat and place a small saucepan or saute pan on top. Now we're gonna add a generous coat of your preferred cooking oil. I'm using avocado oil. And once the oil is hot, we will add all of our chopped veggies and get them cooking. When your shallot and garlic mixture have started to saute and you see little brown spots everywhere, it is time to add our crushed red pepper flake as well as our vodka. I feel like there is a huge misconception around recipes that use alcohol. The purpose of using the vodka in this vodka sauce is not to get drunk or to make it boozy. Most of the alcohol, a lot of people don't know, actually burns off in the heat anyway. So the purpose of using it is actually to enhance that tomato flavor and to give us a little more depth to the sauce. Once our vodka has had a couple minutes to cook off, we are going to add half a can of tomato paste, followed by a whole can of San Marzano peeled tomatoes. Then a sprinkle of Italian seasoning. Finally, we'll toss in some fresh basil before putting the lid on to let it all mend together. We'll let it simmer for about 5 minutes over medium heat. After your sauce is slightly cooled, we're gonna start putting everything in our blender. The steam coming out of this blender is letting me know that it's still probably not cool enough for me to blend it, but we're gonna do it anyway because our dough is about ready and we need to get this party going. Let's go ahead and take this lid off. Oh my gosh, that smells amazing. Now let's go ahead and pour our blended sauce back into our saucepan and stir in some freshly grated Parmesan cheese. Once that is done, put the lid back on and let it simmer gently on low while we prep our pizza. It has officially been 1 hour, so let's go ahead and check our dough. It has over doubled in size. This is exactly what you want to see. It should also not be sticky to the touch whatsoever, and it's not. It feels amazing. So we're gonna put it on our countertop and we're gonna cut it into 2 pieces of pizza. I never measure this, y'all. I just kind of eyeball it. I recommend you do the same thing. It is not worth putting extra time into weighing your dough and then trying to get like equal parts. So this works perfect for me. I'm gonna go ahead and shape them into a circle to make it easier for me to roll them out into a slab of pizza. And you do not have to do this, but I highly recommend that when you're rolling your pizza out, you take out some parchment paper and do it directly on top of the parchment paper. Doing this will eliminate you having to roll out your dough, get it nice and thin, and then have to lift it off of your countertop, because most of the time when you do that, if you're not super experienced at making pizza, you will get holes in your crust, which is not what we want. You can really use whatever you have in your kitchen to roll out your dough, but I like using a wooden rolling pin because I feel like it helps me get everything nice and even. Take your time and roll everything out to about the width of your pinky, aiming for the most circular shape as possible, but don't worry about making it perfect. I have spent way too much time on these recipes some days just trying to get the perfect circle, but I feel like a slightly misshapen pizza just adds to the homemade charm of it. So don't spend too much time trying to get it perfectly circular. Now this step is personal preference depending on how you like your pizza crust. If you like it puffier like I do, then go ahead and take 2 clean dish towels and cover up your pizzas for 30 minutes. If you like it really thin and not as puffy, then this is your time to bake. We want our oven nice and hot, so go ahead and preheat it to 500 degrees and place both of your pizza pans inside to preheat as well. Now that our dough is almost ready, let's go back to our sauce and make sure it's perfect. Remove the lid, give it a good stir, and add our final ingredient, heavy cream. This is also a great time to taste it and see if it needs any more seasoning. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little more Italian seasoning and some more cream. How much heavy cream you add is totally up to you. I usually just keep adding until it reaches the color and creaminess that I like. Our dough is almost done rising, our sauce is perfect. Now the only thing we need to do is shred our cheese. I am using Munster and mozzarella today, and one of my favorite things to do on pizza is mixed cheeses. I feel like it's such an easy way to add another layer of depth and flavor. You get the stretchiness and melty goodness of the mozzarella paired with the creamy and slightly nutty flavor of the Munster. Honestly, it's literal cheesy heaven. I also like to shred my cheese instead of cutting into small pieces because I feel like shredded cheese covers the pizza more evenly, and let's be real, who doesn't love a generous handful of shredded cheese? Also, if you're using multiple cheeses like I am, I recommend shredding them and putting them all into a bigger size bowl that allows you to be able to mix your cheeses with your hand afterwards. Obviously, if you're on a time crunch, just skip this step altogether and buy yourself 1 or 2 bags of already pre-shredded cheese. I started reading about the anti-caking agents that most companies have to put in the shredded cheese to allow the cheese to not only stay separate, but to last longer. Y'all, that stuff is so nasty. Like, I started comparing already shredded cheese, like store-bought cheese, to the cheese that I shred myself, and the melting factor is completely different. Not trying to scare y'all, but now we just buy blocks of cheese and we shred it ourselves. It's a little more work, but honestly, it is definitely worth it. This is my favorite part of the recipe, y'all, finally putting our pizzas together, because you can really make each pizza your own. Also, if you want to get your family involved, instead of making 2 pieces, this recipe can also be cut into 4, and it will give you 4 individual sized pieces if you each want to make your own, which is super fun for the kids. I am going to go ahead and remove my kitchen towel. Now we're gonna put our sauce directly on top, followed by our cheese. The amount of sauce, of course, is going to be personal preference, but for this dough, because it's only gonna cook for a short amount of time in the oven, I don't recommend putting a ton of sauce. Yay, beautiful, that is perfect. We love a lot of cheese in this house. I'm sure y'all were watching me shred that and you're like, no way she's gonna use all that cheese. Toppings don't really affect the cook time of the pizza as much as the sauce. It's really the wet ingredients that you want to worry about. So as you can put as many toppings as you want on your pizza and your dough will cook just fine. Since we are cooking our pizza at such high temperature, it's only going to take about 7 minutes to bake completely. Carefully pull out your pizza pan out of the oven and place your pizza still on the parchment paper right on top. While our first pizza is baking, we are going to get started on our second one. This is the fun part. Remember, be as creative as you want with the toppings. There are no rules here. Whether you love classic pepperoni, lots of veggies, or you just want to keep it super cheesy like me, that's the best part about making homemade pizza. You get to build it exactly how you want it. After about 7 minutes, go ahead and take the first pizza out of the oven to let it rest, then replace it with your second pizza so we can start baking it. Yo, this looks perfect. Literally, I don't think it can get any better than this. Now, there is an ideal time to slice your pizza, and that is a couple minutes after you take it out of the oven. Right after is too soon, and you don't want to wait till it's cold. Time for a taste test. Oh my gosh. This is probably gonna be so hot, but I don't even care. The perfect amount of cheese, a very light layer of sauce, but you can still taste all those flavors in there, and the cheese. Oh. And there you have it, folks, the best, cheesiest, easiest sourdough pizza. And yes, I just ate 2 pieces, no judgment, okay? Thank y'all so much for watching. As always, I appreciate every single one of y'all, and I will see you guys next time.